So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. So we'll continue our discussion on the next class of engineering materials which are used to make several other products. So until this lecture, what we have covered is about uh, metals. Then we have covered about polymers. Then we have covered about ceramics. So broadly, the engineering materials, they are classified in these three types. And now what we are going to start is the hybrid class of materials, which may combine materials from the previously discussed classes, or they may be a material in one of the previous class, but with some special property. So first category of these material is composites. So composites these days is a buzzword in different products. So we'll see what is composite. So composite is basically combination of two or more materials, but in this case the materials, they are insoluble with each other. This means if you mix these two materials, even after mixing the two materials, you can well identify what are the constituents which are put in the composite material. So it is very important to understand the difference between a composite and an alloy. So we have discussed alloys also previously in while discussing metals. So alloys are basically materials in which the constituents cannot be distinguished, which are put in them. So they cannot be distinguished because essentially they chemically combine with each other to form maybe a new compound or a new phase. But in composites, the constituents, they can be distinguished separately, as there is no chemical bonding or chemical reaction taking place. So that is why it is mentioned here in the slide that the phases, they are chemically distinct. So this is very important to understand, that in composite material what will happen, these will be chemically distinct constituents, and often the purpose of making the composite is to have superior properties than the constituents. So the objective in alloy was also this. So objective in alloy was to have improved properties compared to the pure metals. Similarly, in composite materials, we have this objective to improve the properties to the compared to the constituents. So properties are basically in composite materials, they are improved by reinforcement phases. So any composite material will have two phases. So it will first have a matrix and it will have a reinforcement. Now this matrix, this can be either a polymer matrix, this can be a metal matrix, or it can be a ceramic matrix. Then if we talk of reinforcement, so reinforcement can be of, again they can be these materials, they can be polymers, they can be metals, they can be ceramics. So that is one classification. Or another set of classification for the reinforcement is they can be either in the form of particulates, means particles like powder, particles, they can be short fibers, or they can be long fibers. So we will understand first what is the difference between fiber and particle. So fiber, any composite material, when you combine this matrix and reinforcement, you get a composite material. And what you observe, suppose this is a composite, this is you look at the matrix. So what you will observe that if there are fibers, so these fibers you can physically distinguish that this is the fiber Okay. And the other thing is basically the matrix in between. So what we are able to do in this case is we are physically able to distinguish the matrix and the fiber. Now, how this fiber is different than the particulate, so that also we will discuss. So there is an parameter known as the aspect ratio. Please try to understand this thing. This aspect ratio you will come across in engineering many times. What is this aspect ratio? Aspect ratio can be for any object. So aspect ratio is basically a ratio by length by diameter. So where L is basically the length and D is basically the diameter. So since it is a ratio, it will not have any units. So if it is a particulate, so this length by diameter ratio will be approximately equal to 1 for particulate or particle, whatever you call it, particulate. If this length by diameter ratio is in the order of uh, sorry. Oh, just okay. So just I was telling you that the aspect ratio, if it is approximately 1, it is particulate. If it is in the order of 50 to 60, the value 60, it becomes a short fiber. If this value is this value, or sometimes you take it to 200 to 300, this becomes a long fiber. So physically what this means is that the length, if the length is too long compared to the diameter, so if this is a fiber, so this, if this is the diameter and this is the basically the length, so you can well understand with these values it will become a long fiber, with these value it will be a short fiber, with these values it will be a particulate. So in composite materials we have the reinforcement in these three, is one of these three type of form. So one of these three form will be the forming as a reinforcement. And matrix, as I already discussed, it could be a polymer, it could be a metal, or it could be a ceramic. So now we'll move ahead to discuss some more things on the composite materials. So if you see this schematic in the slide, so you have a fiber which is shown here. Okay, you have a matrix, and when you combine both of these, you get a composite material which may have a very high value of strength, that is ability to bear external load. It may have very high stiffness. So stiffness is deformation upon per unit applied load. So if stiffness is more, so the deformation will be less on application of load. Good shear properties, low density. And what you will observe that all these fibers what are put in, you can physically see them in the composite material. So what is the reinforcement can be physically seen in the composite material. And this composite material, they are often built up in laminate forms, means you have several layers which are stacking up together, or you have this type of an arrangement where you have the particulate which are suspended in the matrix. If this is the matrix, so if you have the particulate, so in that case you will have these particulates being suspended maybe homogeneously throughout the matrix. So based on the configuration of the reinforcement, if it is a particulate, if it is a short fiber, or if it is a long fiber, we can have a different type of composites. So in the nutshell, I can say the composite can be tailored to different applications by modifying these fibers or metrics. Now we will see some examples. I am talking so much about composites, so we will see real life examples of products which utilize composite materials, be it polymer matrix composite or metal matrix composite or ceramic matrix composite. So first and is a very popular application is aircraft. So all the aircraft that are being used today, be it a commercial aircraft, be it a military aircraft, so more than 50%, I can say this, more than 50% of the materials which are used in the aircraft are composite materials in some form of the another. And since it is for aircraft application, so wide choice or most popular choice are polymer matrix composite, also abbreviated as PMC. So polymer matrix composite are also abbreviated as FRP, which stands for fiber reinforced plastics. Fiber reinforced plastics. So this is just another name of polymer matrix composite. So 50% of the materials which are used in case of aircraft are polymer matrix composites. Then all the automobiles, the modern automobiles, they also have a lot of composite materials which are used in them in different parts like doors or interiors, etc. All these sporting equipment, especially the marine sporting equipment, since they are very light in weight or resistant to corrosion, they also are made up of composite materials. These type of bridge structures, all these bridge structures you see are again made up of composite materials. These railway sleepers on which the rails are laid are also of composite materials. All these, furniture, domestic furniture like, table, chairs, doors and all, they can also be made up of composite materials. This prosthetic limbs or artificial limbs, they are also made up of composite materials. So this pressure vessels, so this is a very interesting application of composite materials. So we all know what is a pressure vessel. So everyone has seen an LPG cylinder. So LPG cylinder, which is used for domestic cooking, is a pressure vessel. Means it is a vessel which can store any fluid at a high pressure. So these pressure vessels, if they are made up of composite materials, so the weight of the pressure vessel will reduce, and at the same time it can bear very high pressure because of enhanced strength. So it can bear a very high pressure. So transportation of liquefied gas like liquefied petroleum gas will be reduced. Transportation cost will be reduced because the empty cylinder is weighing very less. So that way you can understand if the weight of the cylinder reduces and you are still able to carry the same amount of or same volume of gas. So that is a very good initiative for low cost transportation of this. So this is a pressure vessel because it can store the fluid at high pressure. So we call it as a pressure vessel. So these are also made up of composite materials. These type of fishing rods, so this is the fishing rod, again made up of composite materials. This one is basically the wind turbine blade. So wind turbine or wind energy is a very promising source of renewable energy these days, and you can see a lot of wind turbines in regions where there is a very consistent wind velocity available. So they are also made up of different type of composite materials. So these type of bicycles, which are very high-end bicycles, they are also made up of composite materials. So the frame of this bicycle is a composite carbon fiber-based composite material. So these are like some of the applications of real-life applications of products which are made up of composite materials. So if I tell you more about what type of fibers which are used in composite materials, so we have these five very popular varieties of fibers which are used in the composite materials. So these basically are glass fibers, carbon fibers, boron fibers, Kevlar, and natural fibers. So the above four fibers, these are basically also known as the synthetic fibers. And these are natural fibers are basically plant derived fibers. So plant derived means they are occurring naturally. So like cotton, hemp. These are some examples, although there are many more names, but I am giving some of the examples of plant derived fibers. So the objective here is to have some, biodegradability aspect, or low energy consumption aspect, because all the synthetic fibers, they are very energy intensive to make. Means you need to first fabricate the fiber, then you need to fabricate the matrix, then you will combine. So what will happen? The cost of any composite product made up of composite material will definitely be quite high, because you are making the matrix separately, then you are making the fiber separately, then you are combining both of them. So inherently the cost will be high. But at the same time, the properties or the performance of that composite will be exceptional compared to the, say, monolithic metal or polymer individually or ceramic. So that is the catch of most of the composite material. The cost is quite high. And if we talk of matrix, so I have already discussed. So matrix, either it can be polymer. So we have discussed it can be, if it is a polymer, it will be either thermoset or it will be thermoplastic. So, or out of the polymer, it can be metal or it can be a ceramic. So here are some examples of in each category. Like thermoset, we have epoxy, polyester, polyamides. For thermoplastics, we have polypropylene, polyketone. There can be many more. With metals, more popular are aluminium, magnesium, titanium. So all the light, these are basically examples of, if you remember, are non-ferrous materials, are light in weight. And in ceramics, we have silicon carbide, that is SiC, silicon nitride is there, and we have alumina, that is aluminium oxide. So these are the basically the matrix materials. So in the scope of this course, we will be studying some manufacturing processes or product realization processes for only maybe thermosets, and in that only we will discuss a little bit about composites. So what are the functions of matrix material? Why it is, now we know that strength is provided by the reinforcement, that is why the name is given as reinforcement. But the matrix which is there, which can be either of polymer, or it can be of metal, or it can be of ceramic. So it has several functions. So first function is to basically support the fiber in place and transfer the stress so that the load carrying capacity increases. It also basically protects the fiber from the environment or physical damage, since it is always covering those fibers very well. So it can avoid interaction with the environment. It can reduce propagation of cracks, and these type of things are basically there, which the matrix material is doing. Now we will see some specific properties of the each type of composites, that is PMC, or maybe a metal matrix composite, or CMC, that is ceramic matrix. So polymer matrix, as the reinforcement and the matrix both are light in weight, so they are very high specific stiffness. Their properties can be tailored. So here this term is mentioned, anisotropy. So this means the properties can vary with direction. You might have read about isotropy, but there is another term, anisotropy, where the properties they vary with respect to direction. So based on the direction, the properties will change. So that can be done with composites. They can be easily moldable, good fatigue resistance, good damping. This is, they can damp for vibrations. Fatigue, is basically they can take the cyclic loads, low coefficient of thermal expansion, low radar visibility. So this basically gives the stealth properties. So all the aircraft basically are basically made up of made up of the composite material, so they are less visible on the radar. So these are some specific applications of polymer matrix composites, where you can see these alloy wheels, these covers of the engine covers, automobile front panels, high-speed racing vehicle, car, this type of high-speed marine equipment. These are UAVs, that is unmanned aerial vehicles. So all these are made up of composite materials. They are light in weight, good strength. Military aircraft and this type of bicycles that I already discussed. So this photograph shows that even a small kid can pick this full-sized bicycle. It is so light in weight, but at the same time the cost will be very high. Now, if we talk of the metal matrix composites, so metal matrix composites, they have these properties of high elastic modulus, means they have a very high elastic range in which they can take the load. So elastic modulus is basically the if you plot this stress strain curve, engineering stress strain curve, so there is a certain region beyond this region the plastic region starts. So the slope in this elastic region is basically known as the elastic modulus. And physically, if you talk of it, it is basically the ability to, again, to bear load within the elastic limit. So maximum load which can be taken in the elastic limit. Then in metal matrix composites, so they are very resistant to elevated temperature. So elevated temperature cannot be, the polymer matrix composite, they cannot be used in elevated temperature, because the polymer matrix will degrade at a certain temperature. So generally they are limited to approximately the polymer matrix composite. So they are limited to this temperature range, and maybe in exceptional cases they may go up to 300 degrees. So not beyond that. But if we talk of metal matrix composite, so they can bear temperatures up to say 500 to 800 degrees centigrade. So this high temperature is also needed in several applications that I will discuss. They have high toughness, high ductility. They have good toughness. They are also very stiff, used as stiffeners in several hypersonic aircraft. So the stiffness value is quite high. So this table basically summarizes some applications or the products which are made up of metal matrix composites, in which we see the combination of fiber and with which matrix and what product is made. So with fiber as graphite matrix, options can be aluminium, magnesium, lead, copper. We can have different type of products made, which you can see in this table. So next is the ceramic matrix composites, in which now we have the matrix as ceramic. So the ceramic matrix, the ceramics are basically known to be resistant at high temperature and corrosive environments. So at high temperature and corrosive environments, there are very critical applications which I will just discuss. So in case of metal matrix, I mentioned the temperature can go say up to 500 degree to 800 degree or maybe 1000 degree. But beyond that, the metal matrix composite are also not good enough. But we have the ceramic matrix composite, which can even retain its strength up to 1700 degrees centigrade. So this is very high temperature. And we have a special class of the ceramic matrix composite, which is known as the carbon-carbon composite, in which the reinforcement is also of carbon, the fiber is also made up of carbon. And these type of composite material, they can retain strength as high as up to 2500 degrees centigrade. So this is very, very high temperature, and it is beyond the melting point even of steel. Steel melts between 1400 to 1600 degrees centigrade. Beyond that melting point also, they can retain their strength, and the melting point is even higher. So where these type of composite find application, so these type of composite will find application in very, very difficult environment like deep sea mining equipment, very high pressure vessels, dyes for extrusion. This I will discuss maybe in some subsequent module, what are dyes. And this is a very popular application of the ceramic matrix, especially the carbon-carbon composite in the space, aerospace application, especially the space application. So what I am showing here is basically the space shuttle model of the space shuttle with this color coding. So color coding tells us the temperature which the different regions of this space shuttle will encounter while it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. So when it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere, that time the speed is of the order of maybe 40,000 kilometer per hour. So at that high speed, the friction with the air molecules in the atmosphere creates very intensive heating on these surfaces, especially the ailerons and the nose tip. So they can experience temperature up to 1650 degrees centigrade. So at these regions, what we do is basically we have these tiles which are made up of carbon-carbon composite. So this is a CMC, that is a ceramic matrix composite. So carbon-carbon composite. So these black tiles that you see, they are basically made up of this material. And since they can retain strength up to 2500 degrees centigrade, so they become a heat barrier for this type of application. So this is one of the very typical application where the ceramic matrix composite are used. Now we move to a next class of engineering material, which is a relatively new class of engineering material, which are all known as shape memory materials. So this is a very interesting one. So in this case, what happens, even if they are plastically deformed, so plastically means permanently at room temperature, you can bring back the original shape by heating them. So I will just show this video. I don't know. Yeah, please see this video. So you can see here this person is having this spring which is made up of this shape memory material. He is deforming it plastically, means permanently at room temperature. So he has deformed the shape by applying force. So the shape is now permanently deformed here. And now when he will increase the temperature, what you will observe that the spring which is deformed, it will get back to its original shape. So please see, you can observe that the spring, it goes back to the original shape. Means it has some memory where it retains the shape. So that is why the name is given as shape memory alloy or shape memory material. So please remember this, after being plastically deformed at room temperature, they can return to original shape upon heating.
Sir,
So
what defines the original shape?
original shape means the shape before plastically deformed. Original means before it, the shape before it was plastically deformed. So as you have seen in the video, it was a well-made spring, and it has come back to the original shape that was spring, what it was before deforming. So these are some examples of the alloys. So specifically, if we say these are metal alloys, which have a very fixed ratio of different elements upon mixing, like this nickel titanium NiTi with 55% nickel, 45% titanium, you get a shape memory alloy. Similarly, this cobalt, nickel, gallium, nickel, iron, gallium, titanium, niobium. So these are some of the examples of the metallic alloys which have this shape memory effect. So this is a special class of metallic alloys. And these are some of the applications of these type of materials, like the aircraft nozzle. So this can change the shape upon heating, and when it cools again, it can get back to the original shape. These satellites are there, so where you have large temperature variation in space. So there also you can actuate the wings of the solar panels on this satellite. A car seat is there, satellite, again some civil structures, these dental braces and all. So these are some of the applications of this type of material. So this is basically, I can say, a new class of materials. Still there are very less products which are made out of them, but they are also now being considered in some applications. Next type of the materials which are there are nanomaterials. So nano is also a very buzzword these days. You will hear about nanomaterials, nano coatings, miniaturized products. So what are these nanomaterials? So nanomaterials are basically materials which are in the form of grains. They are in the form or fiber, films, or composites, in which the size is of the order of 1 to 100 nanometer. This is very important. So if the size is of 1 to 100 nanometer, so these type of material are considered as nanomaterials. So any examples? So any examples, they don't have any specific examples, but all the examples like we have discussed in composites or ceramics, polymers or metals, wherever the size of the material, I am speaking here of maybe at the microstructural level, the size goes in the order of 1 to 100 nanometer. So we will consider that material as nanomaterial. And they have a very different set of properties compared to their macro counterparts, because what happens at nanoscale, the more smaller you go, the chances of introducing defects, it goes on reducing. Or in other words, I can say the purity or the level of defects goes on reducing. So the properties are totally different than what you will expect from the same material if it is of bulk size. So as the size will increase, the chances of having defects on uniformity, non-uniformity will be more. But as the size goes on reducing, the chances of defects or inhomogeneous microstructure will also reduce. So the properties will be definitely be improved. But again, producing such a material or getting such a material will always and always be very costly compared to the bulk material. So that is why in any product you see the nano material being used, the cost is definitely going to be higher compared to the non-nano or the micro structured material. So nano materials, they are also known by different names like nanowires, nanotubes, nanofilms, nanostructured materials, nanophase materials. So this word nano is there, which basically gives us this estimate of size of these products. So characteristics, as I already mentioned, their synthesis can be done even at the atomic level. So their purity and homogeneity is almost 100%. So the level of defects is very less. Hence, since the level of defects or in any inclusions are not there, so they have a very uniform type of microstructure. And physical properties and mechanical properties, they can be precisely controlled, and the properties like strength, which we have been discussing, ductility, hardness, wear resistance, is superior. Please see this word superior compared to the traditional materials, means which are not nanomaterials. And in some cases, they may have very unique electrical or magnetic properties, which may not be there with their macro level counterparts. So these are some of the examples like carbon nanotube, butterfly's wing. So all these structures here in the butterfly wing are also nanostructured. Most of these nano structured materials were basically nature derived. So carbon fullerenes, these gecko tapes we have, like these are inspired from this lizard feet. Lizard feet is basically having this special structure at the bottom, which gives it a very high adhesive strength. So we have developed materials based on these type of structures for the adhesive kind of applications. And these are some of the applications of these nanomaterials: medicines, optical applications, high powered magnets, high density batteries, cutting tools and all, sensors. So they are all made up of these type of materials. Next class of materials is basically the biomaterials. So this is perhaps the last variety that we are discussing about the classification of materials. Again, biomaterials it can be a polymer, it can be a metal, it can be a ceramic. So again, it is from the same variety, but they have a special property. So what is that special property? That these materials are basically engineered to interact with biological systems, and they are often used in therapeutic values like treatment, augmentation, repair, or replace of tissue. And these materials, they are compatible with the human body. and often for medicinal purpose or diagnostic purpose they are being used. And what is important here that these are different from the biological material like bone, or it will can be a muscle. Okay, so they are different than this, but these are again materials, class of materials from metals, polymer or ceramics which have the biocompatibility aspect. This may be missing with several others, but it is present in several of the metal, polymer or ceramic. So only those materials are classified in biomaterials. So biocompatibility is the most important aspect to look into, which is ability of the material to perform the appropriate host response. Means it should be compatible with the living system of the any organism. Example like these hip implants. So lot of hip implants, all these are made up of. This is made up of some polymer, metal. Okay, these are also made up of metals. So these hip implants are there. This is the knee implant. So this is the knee implant. So often people with means people in with age, these implants need replacement. So again they are made up of biomaterials. Spine implants are there. So these type of screws on these plates which are there, which may be used in some patient if there is some injury. So these are also made up of the metals, but those metals are biocompatible. This pin plate in kind of this femur bone here with this rod and plate, again made up of biomaterials. Dental implant, okay, this brace is dental implant is made up of biomaterial. These are the examples I am showing which are used in different systems like skeletal system. We have titanium, stainless steel of the special variety 316. So these are basically the different varieties of stainless steel which are coded with numbers. So the 316 number of stainless steel is basically suitable in bio applications. Bone plate, we have cobalt chromium alloy. Bone cement, PMMA, is basically a polymer. Hydroxyapatite is basically a bioceramic. So all these basically table summarizes different type of materials being used for different type of applications related to the biology or the human body kind of applications. So with this, I will stop for today, and now we can take some questions from you. So please feel free to ask questions if you have any.